OMG, hey, Facebook, what's up? I'm waiting for Instagram to come online. Hopefully it does. It's still checking the connection. Oh, now it says I'm live. Hey, hey, Instagram. Hey, Facebook. What the fuck is up? I am so happy to be coming to you. I just need to adjust my my little camera there to make sure. Okay, so Instagram, we got it. Facebook, we got it. Here we are. Happy April, everybody. I mean, can we just stop for a second and just have a collective exhale? We made it through March, which came in like a fucking lion and went out like a sociopath on a fucking like killing spree. I swear to God. I don't even know where, you know, and this is actually really good because a lot of what we're going to talk about today in April Energy Transmission is all about moving on, letting go, letting the past be the past, letting the history be the history, and, you know, stepping forward and moving on. So I don't really want to talk so much about what has happened because that's old news. That's dead in the water. That's, you know, yesterday's information. But still, I mean, let's be honest. It was intense. And we made it, and here we are. So what we're gonna talk about in today's April Energy Transmission is really about kind of what's going on collectively, what's going on individually. They're always the same, it's just a macro or a micro, right? If we haven't really realized at this point that it's all a fractal expression, right? So this version of it always looks the same as this version of it. So it's always the same pattern and the same shape geometrically, but obviously, if it's happening to me individually, it's going to be a much different experience than perhaps if it's happening on the collective stage and I'm just sort of watching or responding to it. That said, I have a lot of information and I've been doing some notes this morning and meditating and really doing my best to kind of piece together this knowledge. So I'm hoping that it will be a beautiful string of gems as opposed to me just sort of holding up one little idea after another. But as always, I am here to deliver the information that wants to come through, and what you decide to do with that is up to you, my dear. So give me a thumbs up, give me a heart emoji, give me unicorn, give me poop, give me the van down by the river. If you are happy for this new month, if you are ready for this exhale period that we've got for the next couple of weeks, because we have no planets, 0 planets are retrograde for the next like week and a half. I believe around mid-April we have something else going retrograde. Honestly, I haven't really been paying too much attention to the astrology that's happening this month because nothing, I know there's a lot of important aspects, but nothing really jumped up into my face as being important enough to share with you. Really what April is all about is this. The energetic tide is rising. A rising tide raises all boats. And it's a scale, right? The energetic tide is rising. And we are rising within this frequency, this bandwidth. There are new levels of reality that are open to us, that are available to us, that we can plug into, that we can create from, that we can reside in. And no, it's not another location somewhere out there. It's really about whatever I have going on in here, because this is the primary reality. And this is the secondary reality. So everything in here is the genesis of everything that I experience out here. The only thing, listen to this, if you take nothing else away from today's video, the only thing that keeps us anchored in a lower expression, in a lower reality, is an attachment to an old way of being, of doing, of seeing, of acting, of creating, an old way of doing. If I am plugging myself into this old way, in this old matrix, in this old structure, then I am inherently limiting what I am capable of and what is possible. Because if I am plugged into an old idea or an old belief, there are limitations built into that inherent belief. Do you feel me? So if I am still clinging to an old way of doing or being or thinking, then I'm never going to create a new experience. I'm never going to unravel those problems, those blocks, those issues. Your history now is nothing but a limitation. And certainly we can use it as a reference if we feel like we need to, right? Sort of training wheels to go, okay, well, I used to do it this way and that always fucked up and that never worked. So maybe maybe it's time to really let that go. But if I am actively believing an old story, if I am actively engaged in an old idea or concept, if I'm reading from an old script, guess what? I'm going to get the same fucking rerun every single time. And right off the top, right out of the gate, we need to acknowledge that this is intense. Yes, it is intense. It is remembering how to embody the fullness of who we are. We have never embodied frequencies like this in physical form before. And certainly we have never gone from where we were, where we have been, to where we are while in form. This would have obliterated the human form. This would have completely, we would have just been gone in a flash of light. So first of all, we need to acknowledge how intense this is. We need to acknowledge how challenging this is, and we need to accept it. That's the T. This is the Energy Olympics, my friends. And in today's installment of the Energetic Olympics, it is a reminder that the brightest and the strongest and the greatest and the wisest souls from around the galaxy, from around the dimensional multiverse, decided and chose to come to this planet and incarnate as a human at this period in time because it is the greatest show on Earth. So, my fellow Olympians, my fellow athletes, just like the Olympic athlete does not show up at the Olympics and go, wow, this is really hard. Well, of course it's hard, my dear. You want to be the #1 tennis player on the planet. Expect a challenge. So we came here to be part of this experience of the transformation of the planet and all that inhabit her. And so we knew that there was going to be a challenge. So let's make it clear right away. Yes, girl, it's intense. It's intense because it's supposed to be. It's intense because you wanted it to be. It's intense because you're a trillion-year-old soul who's kind of done it all and seen it all. And this was the ticket that you had never been able to get. This was the show that you were like, yes, that's on my bucket list and that's where I want to be. So, you can sit around and talk about how hard it is, and you can sit around and be upset about how hard it is. You can sit around and pour pity party, woe is me, I'm a victim, look at me, I'm helpless. Or we can begin to understand where we are energetically in this season of the Energetic Olympics. So give me a thumbs up, give me a heart emoji, give me a gold medal, I don't know. Is there a gold medal emoji? I don't know. Is there a torch emoji? Give me whatever. Are you ready? Are you ready to step into the fullness of who you are? And what I mean by that is the human you that I see, that I interact with, and the rest of you. The rest of you, the part of you that chose the human experience because that's what you wanted and that's what you were ready for. So here we go. April. I'm going to share with you, as always, a little bit of my own experience, a little bit of what's been coming through with clients, and then a little bit of just what's been dropping in terms of insight and information for me to share with you. The first thing, and this came up, it's funny, this came up yesterday with a client. I was talking to her and, she was saying, because here's the deal. We've all been through the ringer, especially the past 18 months. We've all been through the ringer. And so almost every single person that I'm connecting with, and myself as well, this is my own experience, colleagues, friends, clients, whatever. Everybody across the board is having some version of this experience of, holy shit, that was intense. I really, really hope the other shoe is not going to drop. I hope we're done. I hope it's time to move on. I hope that there are no more lessons. I hope that this doesn't implode. Here's the deal. There's always going to be another level. There's always going to be another level to ascend to. When I have reached the pinnacle of what I can do in the form called Andrew, then I will move on to something else. And when I have reached the pinnacle of what I am capable of in that form, then I will move on to something else. But in terms of trusting our experience, remembering that the only thing that keeps me anchored in a lower expression, the only thing that keeps the implosion and the lessons active, especially if we're looking at the Groundhog Day of like, oh my God, how many times have I gone through this? The only thing that keeps it active is attachment to an old way of being. So when it comes to lessons, when it comes to our life falling apart, when it comes to having to pick up the pieces one more time, here's something to consider. It is resistance that turns it into a lesson. It is resistance that takes an experience of simply expanding into a new experience, expanding into a new awareness, expanding into a new level of perception. And we resist it, we fight it because I can't do it, I don't know how, I can't control it, I'm afraid, I'm not worthy, I'm not, powerful enough, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve all that money, I don't deserve all that love, I don't deserve all that recognition, I don't deserve all that joy. That's what turns it into a lesson. So think of it this way, right? A new experience comes in, right? The creator self, Big Andrew, says, oh, okay, it's time for Andrew to move into this new thing. It's time for Andrew to try, have this new experience. It's time for Andrew to wake up, right? It's time for Andrew to realize that, oh my gosh, there's more than just this. So a new experience comes in and creator self says, okay, I know exactly where I'm going to take Andrew. I know exactly where this is going to go. I know exactly where this is going to play out. And if he just surrenders and goes with the flow and allows himself to be carried and is present in his experience, it will unfold in A and B and C and D and 1 will equal 2 and there will be. But now here comes Andrew the human. Now here comes Andrew the like, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, how's it going to happen? Oh my God, what am I going to have to do? Oh my God, I don't have enough money. Oh my God, I'm not smart enough. Oh my God, I don't have the resources. Oh my God, I can't possibly do this. I am not possibly that powerful. I am not possibly that strong. There's no way in hell I can handle that. Bam. There's my resistance, and now it becomes a lesson because my resistance to it sends a message to my creator self. It says, oh, Andrew isn't ready yet. Oh, okay, he still has some trust. He still has some issues with faith. He still doesn't believe it. He still doesn't think that he can do this. Okay, so now this opportunity to expand, this opportunity to be carried forward by my experience becomes a lesson. And guess what? I still end up in the exact same place I was going in the first place. But now it's become a journey of destruction and pain and agony because I was resistant, because my human, Andrew, was resistant. Think of it this way. It's like a roller coaster. I hate roller coasters. Maybe it's because I'm a control freak and I don't like the fact that I have to completely surrender control when I get on one of those things. Maybe it's because there's no stop, there's no break, and if I find myself upside down in a loop-to-loop that I just have to, suck it up and bear it. But it's like a roller coaster. We can get on the roller coaster, and we do. That's what we did when we came back for this incarnation on Earth. We get on a roller coaster, and the creator self, the soul, the true self, the whatever is like, fuck yeah, let's go, woo, ride of a lifetime. But we, from our human perspective, our human is saying, oh my God, no, this is scary, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. The roller coaster only has one track. It's only going to one place. The track is already laid out before us. I can't not reach the end of it, barring any sort of horrendous thing where the cars fall off the track and upside down and kill everyone. Well, then if it kills everyone, then there's no resistance because bam, now I'm back in non-physical. But you get what I'm saying. The roller coaster only goes one place. Your experience is taking you to a destination that you have already agreed upon. The track is going in one direction. And by the way, you also had a hand in deciding where the track was going to go. And you have a choice. You can just trust that you're in the car, the seatbelt is on, the safety bar is down, and you're ready to go. So let's just throw our hands up and go. Or I can close my eyes and be afraid. Or I can try to put my hands up and grab onto things and get bloody and battered and bruised. And I'm still going to end up in the same place. I'm still going to find myself where I've always been going. I'm still going to have the experience of learning in linear time because that's one of the beauties of the earthbound experience is we get to have the experience of evolving in a linear fashion. because we grow and evolve with our experience. The beauty of the human experience is that I get to have a point A to point B to point C experience, and then I go, oh, when I do this, then I get that, and then I get that, and then I do this, and then I grow with my experience. I allow myself and I expand as I move down this linear path. So the only reason that anything is laid out in this linear fashion is so that my human has a way to comprehend it and understand it. But if I am attached to the old ways, if I think that the only way it's ever going to happen is how it used to happen or how it's already happened, then I am limiting myself. Did I allow, here's the question, did I allow or did I disallow my experience of where the roller coaster has been going? And for those of you that watched my March video, I'll share with you, or March videos, I'll share with you my own experience. You saw me at the beginning of March. I was at a loss. I was at the bottom of the fucking barrel. I had no clue how I was going to make it through, what the next step was, and how I was going to get there. I was resistant every step of the way. And I see now, in hindsight, I look back and I see all I was doing was hanging on to the past and looking at this empty shell of how success used to come to me and saying, this doesn't work anymore. I need to resuscitate it. I need to break it, I need to revive it, right? Get out the defibrillator, clear, trying like hell to do it on my own, to make it on my own, to do it alone, to be the solo, here I go up by my bootstraps. That doesn't work anymore. What I had to accept was that it takes a village, and sometimes our answers and our assistance comes through other people. It's our tribe that is beginning to gather now that oftentimes holds the answers. Now, certainly it's still at the end of the day my journey and I'm accountable for it and responsible for it, but I have access to other means of support that up until March of 2019, I hadn't really considered or hadn't really relied on. Here's the thing, I see this so clearly now in hindsight. And this is so funny because when I was talking with a friend of mine recently after I had that implosion at the beginning of the month, and he was saying, well, it's no real surprise, Andrew. He said, your will is so strong that it takes for you to have your back up against the wall before you're willing to change. And I told him, I said, I know. I said, and I'm aware of that personality trait that I hold. And I thought that I had avoided that. I thought that I was really listening. I thought that I was saying yes to everything. But here's the tea, I wasn't. Very clearly. I have to own and accept the fact that I was deeply in my resistance. I was ingrained. I was obsessed with my resistance. I was so fixated on this old story. And here was the story. I had romanticized suffering. I had romanticized struggle. I had learned as a kid that the 11th hour was how I would get things done because the 11th hour was when I would need help. Rather than say, hey, I need help, I'm overwhelmed, I would put it off and put it off and put it off until the very last minute, until I had no other choice but to say, help, I need help. And I learned that that was when assistance would come. My mom, my dad, my friend, my teachers, whoever would say, oh God, okay, Andrew, here we go. Well, it's the night before and we got to do it, but let's just roll up our sleeves and get to it. So I was taught at a very early age that putting things off until the last desperate minute was the only way I was going to get help. I was never really taught how to ask for the help that I needed. For whatever reason, who knows? We could sit here and psychoanalyze my childhood all I want. But it's not going to bring me the answers, or it's not going to bring me any important answers. The important thing is to understand that where the fullness of who and what you are is taking you is what you have already agreed to do. And you already had a hand in laying the path. Now it's just a question of, are you going to resist the roller coaster ride, or are you going to allow yourself to be carried by the energy that's already in motion, the car that's already been running, right? It's been idling, waiting for you. So am I going to accept and allow what the fullness of me, the true self, the truth of who I am I going to trust that? Am I going to allow it to call me forward? And am I willing to let my history go and start to ask some questions? So here are some questions. Do you mean what you're doing? And what I mean by that is your heart invested in it? And here's a way that you can tell. When all that I am, mind, body, spirit, the fullness of Andrew, my human, my non-human, and everything in between is invested, it is so clear. Things are open, things flow, things are free, things just happen. They unfold instantaneously because all of me is invested. But when I'm doing one thing and saying another, when I'm thinking one thing and acting in a different way, when I'm desiring one thing but still acting like the old ways, that's when things get wonky. That's when things get convoluted. Do you mean what you are doing? Is your heart invested? Everything around you in the physical world, the secondary reality, is the effect. Nothing out here is the cause, my friend. Nothing out here is the cause of what's going on in your life. This is the effect of what we have created. That's the only way that I can perceive it, as I look at my life and I go, wow, this is really tough. This is really challenging. This is impossible. And I can point at this and say, this is why I am unhappy. This is why I am frustrated. This is why I am ... No, I'm sorry. That's just not the way it works. This is the effect. The cause is in here. You are the cause. And the beauty of our physical reality, the beauty of delay in manifestation, the beauty of having this physicality, this density that it takes things a little bit longer to arrive in my reality, gives me a second to assess what's going on here, because my physical reality always holds clues as to what is going on internally. You are the cause. And when I mean that, I'm not pointing the finger at the human you, I'm talking about the whole you. If we are confounded by our circumstances, it is a clue to let us know that the impulse of creation came from a higher place. Right? I can look back on my experience and my spiritual awakening that happened in 2012, and I can see very clearly that the things that I was looking at from my limited perspective of Andrew, right? Engaging reality solely through my human perspective is like looking through the keyhole and thinking that I see the entire picture. When nothing around me makes sense, it is evidence that the information, the impulse, the intention is coming from a higher place. It is coming from my creator self. It is coming from my non-physical self, who in 2012 was saying, okay, I think Andrew's finally ready, so we're going to blow his shit up. Here come some circumstances that in the moment are going to terrify and confound him. It's going to destroy everything he has ever known. It is going to remove any sort of security blanket. It is going to obliterate the comfort zone, and he's going to be fucking freaked out and, flipping me off and shouting and screaming at the heavens, but it's what he's ready for. It's what he needs. And at that time, I absolutely was pointing at the external world and saying, you're the reason I'm unhappy. You're the reason I'm angry. You're the reason that I drink so much. You're the reason that I do this, right? Whatever. I was so fully invested in the story that Andrew and his struggle, and look what he is capable of, and look what he can fight, right? Meanwhile, my whole life is telling me very clearly, dude, you are light years away from who and what you really are. The bullshit stories that you're not capable, you're not lovable, you're not accepted, whatever it was, I was so deeply invested in that story that I could not see anything else. And my creator self kept sending a message and sending a message, right? This is first God throws a pebble, then a stone, then a rock, then a boulder. So when things are confounding, when things don't make any sense at all, and we think that we're blocked, what is a block? It's just a stepping stone, girl. A block is your creator self saying, boom. This is going to stop Andrew in his tracks. And the only way he's ever going to make it through this is by climbing it, by challenging his belief of what he is capable of, by finally taking a look at the pain within him that stands in the way of everything that he wants. The only way that I was going to get it was by being stopped dead in my tracks, so that then the thing that I said, this is, again, pointing out here, this is the reason that I am unhappy because I am blocked. No. You are blocked because the way that you have been doing things is not sustainable anymore, girl. You can't do it like that anymore. So in order to level up, we've got to put a block in your way, and it becomes a stepping stone. And as you do your work to get rid of the old shit and you sort through your stuff and you climb the block and you arrive and you go, oh my God, here I am. Now I can see clearly. Now I can see all of it because I raised my game, because I raised my perception, because I expected more of my human. You are responsible for your human. Period. You are responsible for the care and feeding of your human, period. It is your job, it is your choice, it is your responsibility. And if you've forgotten how to care for your human, as most of us have, then that's why people like me are here on the planet at this time, to help you remember. But ultimately, you are the one that is responsible for your human. And the perception of a lack of answers around you it just means you haven't seen the whole picture yet. It just means it doesn't make sense because you're processing it through the human. You're looking through the keyhole trying to see the whole picture. So, it's a scale. Right? It's a scale. So let's just imagine that from 1 to 100, right? And 1 is me and my most human, where I'm completely cut off, completely asleep, and I have absolutely no clue what's going on beside or outside of my little view through the keyhole. And then I have 100, which is the divine self, which is non-physical, perfected, everything is great, everything is perfect, instantaneous manifestation, instantaneous healing, because I'm in non-physical and I'm not bound by the laws of density, and I can just say, this is what I want, and bam, there it is. And at any given moment, I can be anywhere on this scale. And depending on what's going on with my human and what my human needs, I may have to go down to the lower end of the scale and get in the dirt with myself and feel the things that I feel and cry and scream and rage and do a video where I'm begging for help and I finally get it. And then my human goes, oh, look at that. I trusted that voice. I trusted that impulse. I finally listened to that little thing that's been tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, Andrew, why don't you do a video where you just tell people how shitty things are right now and maybe they'll help you. And I'm saying, no, I can't possibly do that. I'm the one with the answers. Look at me. I've got, I'm the teacher. I'm the guide. I'm the guru. Girl, for the love of God, fucking get over yourself. Ask for help. If you need it, ask. If it doesn't make sense, it is only because you are processing it solely through the human. So a way to switch things, a way to flip the script is when you find yourself blocked, ask yourself, what is it that my human needs right now? What is it that my human is being asked to rise to? What is it that my human is being asked to perceive or to see or to shift? Or to surrender. So when I let myself take that view, I go to 100, right? I go to the divine place where I'm on my observer's perch and I look at it all and I go, oh, okay, so I see this is what we need to do. We're going to do this and then this is happening, right? And then I come down and I say, okay, Andrew, I'm going to embody this pain. I'm going to feel this sorrow so that I can feel it and express it and let it go. And then once that density of that old pain, that old story, that old way is gone, now I've created a vacuum and guess what? In comes my divine self to fill it with more of my essence, with more of my truth. When I've carted the old shit out of the attic that's just been taking up space and collecting dust, that opens up a space for what? More light to come in. And light and information are the same thing. So when I get rid of some stuff, when I clear space on my hard drive, then I get some new data. And all of this is moving us towards this embodiment of our fullness. It's a scale. Nobody has the whole picture. We all have pieces of the puzzle. And, you look at some help, teachers or guides or people that do this and they will tell you, oh, it's about being in this Eckhart Tolle place of no ego, of being free from form, of just being, this essence without a personality and without much of identity. That to me is the divine end of the scale, right? When I'm in non-physical, I can be whatever I want. And I have no ego. Because I'm divine, and ego is a function of the human. I have no emotional body in the sense that the human does because I am free from that, right? So Then I go down to the lower end of the scale, the denser end of the scale, and that's where the human self resides. And I've got to go in and out for the next few years. We are going to be moving in and out of different levels of this awareness because we are all on our own path. We're all going through it in our own way. And whatever I need in the moment is what I need in the moment. And by being present in the moment, I will know exactly what it is I need to do. Do I need to approach this from my divine self? Or do I need to have a moment where I'm down and dirty and rolling around in the muck in my humanness? All of them are important. But ultimately where we are headed is embodiment of this bigness. The embodiment of the fullness of who we are. I had this experience the other day. Hang on, a little more coffee first. Ooh, it's cold. Isn't that weird? Like, why do I like iced coffee, but I don't like cold coffee? Like, if this was an iced coffee or a cold brew, I'd be like, fuck yeah, this is amazing, it's delicious. But because I started out as hot coffee, I'm like, ew, gross, cold. I'm gonna drink more anyway. So give me a thumbs up, give me a heart emoji if you're with me on this. I know that we're talking about some high level stuff and it's a little abstract, but I wanna make sure that you guys are getting this. The other day, I had this experience of, the best way I can describe it is feeling the bigness of my creator self, of my true self. And I was having a moment, I was in the moment, I was just present, I was free, there was no anxiety, there was no worry, I was just having this perfect, beautiful moment, watching the sunset, smelling the sweetness in the air of the citrus trees that are blooming right now. And it was this moment of like, I felt this energy just expand within me. And I'm telling you, I felt like I was 8 feet tall and about 600 pounds. It was amazing how massive this felt. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, what is this? And I very clearly heard this voice sort of giggling saying, it's me. It's you. This is exactly who and what you are and have always been. And so much of the pain and suffering I saw so clearly in this moment is so much of the pain and suffering. In fact, I would say all of the pain and suffering in my life can be attributed to my resistance of my bigness. Because I had been told that I wasn't worthy. I had been told that I wasn't good enough. I had believed that it was dangerous for me to be seen. I had learned how to hide. I had learned how to disappear. I had learned how to erase myself because I was listening to people out here who were saying, you're too big, you're too loud, you're too bold, you're too gay, you're too feminine, you're too this, you're too that, you're too noisy, you're too much, Andrew, you're too much. So just minimize yourself, delete yourself, erase yourself, learn how to hide and cut off as much of yourself as you can so that you can fit in and be accepted. And I did that for fucking ever. I tried that for so many years, for so many decades. I tried to cut myself off because I was terrified. Because I had learned, I believed that my fullness, my bigness meant that sudden death, certain death, that there is no way that this is going to end well. That if I am really in my true power, then I will be persecuted for it. And certainly there have been lifetimes where that was true, but not this time, no ma'am. So this month's energy gathering, it's on April 14th. It's a Sunday from 12 to 1:30. This is all about owning your space. Owning your space. You don't need anybody's permission to exist. And anybody that tells you otherwise is full of shit. You are worthy and powerful and magical because you are, because that's what you are. And the more willing we are to allow our bigness to reside within us, to embody that, that's when shit gets real. That's when it's like, oh my God, this is what I've been waiting for. That sense of trust and truth and belief that is unmistakable and unshakable. It is indelible. It is infinite. It is eternal. But I get it. It's the human that's afraid. It's the human that believes that, oh my God, I can't do this. No, it's not safe. But the body knows. The heart knows. The creator self knows. It's just we've got to give the human self a little bit of love and a little bit of compassion and a little bit of coaxing. And that's what the energy gathering is all about, is about getting used to feeling the fullness again. Because when you learn how to allow the fullness of who and what you are be present within your field without justification, without apology, without excuse, that is when this world reforms itself to match that new sense of truth. I'm telling you, and I know how impossible it seems in those moments of darkness and suffering. I know how impossible it seems to think that it will ever get better and that there's any way that you can get yourself out of it, but I know that it is true. That the fullness of who and what we are, that bigness, changes everything. And when I begin to allow myself to trust that, when I begin to allow myself to be curious about it, and all it is in the beginning is just let me feel it. Spirit, creator self, just let me feel. What does it even feel like when the biggest amount of myself that I can possibly house is present? What does that feel like? And that's what the energy gathering is about, is we're just going to play with the energy of just feeling it. And that's safe, right? This isn't about going out and burning shit down. This isn't about I got something to say and now everyone's going to hear it. Maybe, I don't know. But at first it's about let me just get used to what this feels like. Oh God, that's big. That's a lot of energy. That's, woo, that kind of takes my breath away. But all you got to do is allow it. So that's what the energy gathering is about this month. On the 14th, I'm going to put the description in the link. It's currently on my, I don't have it on Instagram yet, but I have it on Facebook on my events, but I'm going to publish all that. But it's an hour and a half done via Zoom. Everyone gets an MP3 and it's going to be amazing, you guys. This is really the month to really get in there because April is a little softer. April is a little gentler. It's giving us an opportunity to remember what it looks like and feels like when we flex those muscles of our bigness, of our fullness. And whenever things aren't making sense, whenever it feels like a challenge, whenever it's like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing or what's happening or where I am, stop and take a breath, push back from the table, and just ask yourself, what is my human need right now? Because you're the one responsible for the care and feeding of your human. You're only in this life for a little while. It goes by in the blink of an eye. And you wanted this. There was something about this experience that was so attractive and enticing and delicious for you. And yeah, it's going to be challenging because we're Olympians. Because we're here to be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And I don't need any competition out here because trust me, the resistance that's in here is competition enough. But you gotta, at some point, you've gotta be willing to believe in yourself. At some point, you've gotta be willing to think bigger. Think a little beyond what you have done. Because I'm telling you, at this point, our history is only a liability. It's just a limitation. And that just won't fly anymore. So there's a new way. There's a new way. And the way that it begins is by remembering that I've got this scale, that sometimes I need to be in my human and sometimes I can sort of abstract myself and observe and see, okay, what do I need here? And then I swoop back in and I give it to myself. But this is the effect. This is not the cause. It is never the cause. And let's be, you guys, how many times do I have to say this? By the time something arrives in physical, it is old news. By the time I can touch it, look at it, taste it, smell it, it is done. It is baked. It is already decaying and deteriorating. This is already on its way to obsolescence. So why on earth am I going to look at this pen as the reason for all of my suffering and unhappiness? No, it was this that brought the pen to me as a representation of what's going on in here. And if I don't like what's going on out here, then the best place to look is in here. And if I don't like what I'm sensing in here, that is a sign that I'm trying to process it all through my human. My human holds my pain. My human holds my trauma. My human holds my limitations. My human holds all of the stories that tell me why I can't and why I'm a piece of shit and why I should just give up. But here's the truth. None of that is true. And so my job is to sit with my human until he understands that none of that is true. My job is to sit with my human and love him and hold him and let him cry and let him scream and let him be afraid so that he can unload all of that shit so that we can get to doing the real, which is him finally going, oh, I get it. Maybe I am powerful. Maybe I am valuable. Maybe I am lovable. And when he stops believing it, he stops himself in his tracks and says, no, I can't do that, man. I'm blocked. I'm blocked. I'm blocked. I'm stuck. And when I hear that, I go, oh, okay. My human thinks he's stuck. He's standing in front of this sheer face that he has to climb thinking, I don't know, I don't see a door. I can't dig under it. I can't go around it. Where do I go? Up, level up, level up, level up. And then I reach that new level of awareness, and for a while, everything's great, and I create a new comfort zone, and guess what? Don't get too cozy, girl, because the comfort zone is a sign that shit's about to fall apart again. But if I know that that's how it works, it's like the roller coaster. I gotta go up, 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 click, 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 to reach the pinnacle and go zooming down. Low tide is just as important as high tide. The ebb is just as important as the flow. It's all part of the same cycle. So expand out and see yourself as a part of that cycle. See that you are the one that embodies the fullness of that experience. But the time for pointing the finger out here and saying, this is the reason that I am ... all that's going to do is keep you rooted. All that's going to do is turn things into a lesson. Resistance is what brings the lesson. Without resistance, it's simply an experience. But when I introduce resistance into the mix, oh, okay, resistance means that we've reached the edge of Andrew's comfort zone. He's not going to like this. He's not going to want to do this. This is really going to not happen without a lot of kicking and screaming and crying and cursing from him. So now it's a lesson. Okay, cool. Whatever. I'm infinite. I'm eternal. We can do another lesson if you want to. That's fine. All right, girl, let's go. Here we go. Shit falls apart, now it explodes, now it implodes, and now you're desperate, now you got a mess, now you can romanticize struggle again, and oh, look at me, here I am, Andrew, the strong one who, up by his bootstraps and with his mere, with only 2 nickels to rub together, he built an empire. Okay, aren't we tired of that story yet? Aren't you tired of offloading your power? Aren't you tired of trying to give it away and say, here, please take it. I want you to be responsible for my unhappiness because I just can't do it anymore. That's not how it works. Not how it works. Never has been. Never has been. So do you mean what you are doing? Is what you are doing and saying and choosing in alignment with what you are feeling and sensing? Only you can answer that. Only you can answer that. And certainly that's why I'm here, right? So just as a reminder, all of my sessions have been discounted now, even the Mastery Mentorship Program, so I can help you. I can help you unearth the tools. I can help you uncover the power that already lies within you. I promise you, everything that you need and desire is already here. It's already here. And if you don't believe it, then spend some time with me and I'll help remind you. And it takes as long as it takes, right? Oh, well, don't get it done this time. Well, I've got another life then. Do you want it to be an experience or do you want it to be a lesson? The choice is yours. And let's be honest here, there's not one that's better than the other. If you need a lesson, you need a lesson. Just accept that. Okay, I guess I didn't learn my lesson, right? That's one of the things that I had to accept about what happened in March. I thought that I was really paying attention. I thought that I was flowing. I thought that I was in the, out of resistance. I thought that's the problem. I wasn't feeling. I wasn't really honoring my emotion and my sense of feeling and energetics and what was going on. I wasn't really paying attention because I was stuck up here in the fucking MC Escher drawing where I think I'm going upstairs and now I look and I'm going downstairs and I thought I was going this way, but now I'm going left and sideways, So I didn't think that I was resistant, but if I'm honest, I sure fucking felt resistant. I was kicking and screaming and digging in my heels in whatever way I could because I just wasn't really being honest. I was paying attention, but I wasn't really being honest. So in that moment, to take my own medicine, to put my money where my mouth is, fuck, things are really intense right now. What does Andrew need? What does my human need? What can I possibly do to assist him? What can I do? And what I found out was that the best thing that my creator self, my big self, could do was allow me to have the experience that I needed to have, to push my back against the wall one more time, to strip myself of any sort of semblance of power or accountability. I just had to be taken to the bottom again, so that I could see, oh man, I'm just having a love affair with struggle, that's all. I've just got some really, really powerfully, deeply ingrained beliefs, history, that I'm still referring to that tell me otherwise. Well, then no wonder it sucked, because the truth that I was that I was drawing from, that I was tapped into, was like decades old. I haven't felt that way about myself consciously in years. So of course it's going to create a shitty situation, because there was no other outcome that was possible. When the only ingredients that I'm pulling from are dog turds and gravel, I'm not going to make a really good sandwich. So if the only story that you are pulling from is one where you are broken and helpless and powerless and a victim and, you know, only invested in limitation, what the hell do you expect is going to happen? So you're on the roller coaster, my dear. The ride has already started. Now the question is, what are you going to allow yourself to experience in terms of your journey? It's up to you. It's up to you. And when you don't know what's going on, when you're unsure and uncertain and lost and stuck, take a breath and zoom up. Okay, what does my human need right now? God, my human just needs a rest. My human needs a nap. My human needs a glass of water and a massage. My human needs a good cry. Allow yourself what you need. This is not about denying yourself anything, but it's about understanding that your fullness, your bigness requires you to allow that truth to descend. And the minute that we are pulling from illusion, our higher self vacates. Because our creator self says, oh, okay, this was an opportunity, but now it's a lesson. So if it's going to be a lesson, then I need to abstract myself and become the instructor again, right? Think of this. When you're taking a test, you don't hear anything from your instructor, because your instructor is letting you prove to yourself what you know and what you're capable of. But when I'm along for the ride, now it's a co-creation. Now it's the instructor saying, isn't this cool? And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is so cool. And we're doing it together. But the minute that I put on the brakes and go, no, resistance, I can't do this. Whoop, okay, gotta vacate now, Andrew, because now I am not your co-creator. Now I gotta be your teacher again. And in order to be the teacher, I gotta sort of put myself up at this level and say, hey, I see it from this perspective. Are you with me? Resistance turns it from an experience of co-creation in partnership with all that you are to a lesson where you are once again the human climbing the ladder, trying to reach the level of truth. So when you just allow yourself to go with the flow, even if that means you're white knuckling, man, even if that means you're like, oh my God, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'm here, and oh my God, you know, close your eyes. It's fine. Scream your head off. It's a roller coaster. There are going to be scary moments. But you're already on the track that you yourself have had a hand in laying. The destination is guaranteed. You know, this is the thing about a puzzle. It's only a puzzle because there's an answer. The crossword puzzle would not be at all useful or valuable if there really was no answer. If it was just a puzzle to keep you engaged for the next 75 years trying to figure out the, you know, a four-letter word for dog or whatever. You see what I'm saying? The fact that there's a problem guarantees that there's an answer, and the problem is only there to help you get to the answer. The fact that you feel blocked is only because it's a stepping stone that is offering you an opportunity to climb to a new level of awareness. But the minute that I resist that higher level of awareness, okay, Andrew's back in lesson mode. Okay, cool. Some lessons you just got to learn 1,000 times before they finally stick. So this month, here are your questions. Do I really mean what I'm doing? Like, really? Am I invested on any level, or am I just going through the motions? What does my human need? That's the question. When you're stuck, you're blocked, you're uncertain, you're afraid. Okay, just check in. What is my human need right now? And it only becomes a lesson when we introduce resistance. Otherwise, it's just an experience that's a ride of your fucking life. So, that's it for my cold, gross coffee. Ugh, that was like the bottom. Oh, so there's like coffee grounds too. Now, am I going to turn that into see, the world hates me. I got this coffee with coffee grounds in it, you guys. That was gross. No, come on. I just wasn't paying attention. I was at the bottom of the coffee and I was just drinking anyway, not really present, not, I'm making a joke. So if you're ready, you're ready. If it's time, it's time. If it's not, you're not, and that's okay too. But at some point, you gotta be willing to let the old ways go. At some point, you gotta be willing to say, you know what, that just doesn't work anymore. I am just trying to squeeze juice out of a fruit that is dry and desiccated and all used up. So then go in search of greener pastures. There's always more fruit available, dear. It's limitless, it's endless, it's infinite. And this is never the cause. It is always the effect. This is the primary reality. This is the secondary reality. And it takes as long as it takes for me to get that. And if you need help from someone like me, that's why I'm here. Maybe I can give you a piece of the puzzle that you had forgotten about. Maybe I can show you something that you hadn't yet considered. That's my job. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. Because trust me, no one is better at self-sabotage than me. I'm the fucking gold medal holder. And I challenge anybody. I challenge anybody. So it's time. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Because the only thing you have to fear is a life that feels like paradise. And I get it. Because sometimes getting what we want is the scariest thing, because now I have to be accountable for it. Now I have to be responsible for it. And now I have to acknowledge that, oh shit, man, I am powerful. Look what I called in for myself. Here's the thing. You're already creating. It's just that you're doing it by default. If you're asking the question of like, why is this happening? What happened? That's creating by default. That's reaction to what has come in. That's unconscious creation. And it happens all the time to me still. How the hell did this show up here? Okay, well, I guess I got to see what's going on with my human. But it doesn't have to be like that forever. And you can make a new choice. So that's why I'm here, and I would love to see you on the 14th. Again, April 14th from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. It's 90 minutes, question and or discussion, whatever energies and information come through, but it's all about owning your space, finding your bigness, integrating, letting the fullness of who you are be present, man. We have been taught to see that that is a bad thing and that is something to fear, but I promise you, there's no way you can be too big. There's no way you can be too bright. It is impossible for you to be too powerful. And you don't need anybody's permission to do any of that. It's about finally saying, you know what? I may never get an engraved invitation from the Queen of the Universe inviting me to be my biggest self. So I'm just going to be my biggest self and see what the Queen of the Universe has to say about that. I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much for watching. We're going to be coming back at some point in April. We've got another video, I'm sure. I hope to see you on the 14th. Again, all of my sessions are discounted. All of my services are discounted. Andrew Martin Energy on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. AndrewMartin.energy is my website, so you can go read all about my services that I offer there. I love you. Let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself experience it. Allow, allow, allow. Mwah! Bye.